would think we would know. I mean, that's a pretty big story.
Those decisions usually don't come till the first of the week. If it ain't happened by Wednesday, it ain't gonna happen.
Ain't happened. No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
relatively quick.
I don't know what they're waiting on. It's dead man walking.
Dead man walking.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into it. We can talk about that Florida-Miami game. I'm Brian. This is Chris. This is Hell If You Know Podcast. It's your podcast about college football. So we're just getting right after it here. For some reason, the game day game, their choice of location was Coral Gables to watch the annihilation of
Slow
Florida
death.
and slow death of and Billy Napier and that offense, which is also on life support at best. You watched this, I watched this. I gotta say, Florida hung in there longer than I thought they would. They look like Michigan's offense from 2024. They just cannot move the ball. They cannot score points. They ended up with like 60 yards passing, something like that. I mean, I know it's raining and they're struggling in general. Miami's got a great defense, but good grief, they scored one lone touchdown, which put them within a score
Yes.
late in the third. So maybe you can talk about what you saw from them and how they're able to hang in there and what the hell Miami was doing or not doing.
Well, yeah, I'm more than happy to dive right into this game. But let me first say that I was
Yes.
incorrect in my game last week for game day was in Illinois at Indiana.
I
That
agreed
was
with
my
you, I
pick.
think, actually.
That's where they should go. Boy, did we miss the mark on that one. But-
More so than this one, in fact. Yeah.
Way more. Like the
Wow,
difference between
like 50
midnight at
points
night
more.
and noon in the desert different.
Right? In the Sahara.
Yeah. Speaking of this game, yeah, you're right. I mean, the UF defense is fighting. They
Yeah,
competed.
absolutely.
They competed. The UF offense, and there's some. If you look, Ball's a good running back. Lagley
Yeah.
has all the talent. They've got good wide receivers. Varnell Jr.'s there. I mean,
Yep.
It's not like their offensive line was supposed to be pretty veteran and pretty good. They're not.
Right.
I don't. And Billy Billy Napier can't answer what's wrong with them. I know sure as hell I can't answer what's wrong with them, right? And so
Yeah.
they're just all discombobulated. I don't know if that's locker room. I don't know if that is who cares at this point or what. But it's broken. And you mentioned before, they drove the ball 80 yards for a touchdown and put them within one score. Well, that was 80 of their total 141.
41. Right.
So just that one drive.
Yeah.
They had 8 of the 11 drives ended with 4 plays or less.
Oh my
4.
God.
6 of those were 3 and outs.
6 of the 11, 3 and
Yes.
outs.
That's not winning football, right? And
No.
So they were 0-13 on third down, 32
Which-
yards of offense in the first half. They're a broken football team.
Yeah.
They're a broken offense, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
Smack.
Well,
their field goal
you're right
kicker's
the first
really
time.
good. Yeah. I mean, they're all around broken, but the
Yeah.
defense battled. I mean,
They did fine,
they got it.
honestly.
yeah, they've got a solid defense. It's just you can't win if you don't score. I don't care how
Well,
good
and they're
the
on the
defense is.
They're on the field for 36 minutes, the
For sure.
defense was. So
Yeah, Miami kind of
you
run down
eventually
their throat
catch
there
up to
toward
you.
the end, but that's
Yeah.
understandable considering they were out there for so long.
You're out
So,
of gas, right? Yeah,
right.
exactly.
So I don't really, you can't hold that against them too much. The
Mm-mm.
late touchdowns Miami, they just
Right, that
they
doesn't matter. That was
force
just
slap out. Yeah.
sealed them. Yeah. Yeah, they 0-13 on third down. I mean, sometimes I'm known for hyperbole, but we could do 0 for 13.
Easy.
Literally, just no problem. Like you'd think you get lucky once in a while and someone misses a tackle or you scheme up just the right play, they're in a run fit and you throw a ball down the field. No, none. 0 for 13. They had 4 yards, I believe, rushing at halftime. 10
Yeah.
carries for 4 yards.
They can't run the ball. They can't pass the
You
ball.
can't
They
do
can't protect.
Right.
Other than that, they're pretty good.
They're pretty good, yeah, absolutely.
No,
They
other
didn't
than
even
those-
turn the ball over. They did not
No.
turn the ball over, and they still only managed to score 7 points. I mean, this is like maybe worse than Michigan last year. That was bad, and they're not devoid of talent.
No, the
quarterback play on the
rosters,
outside behind like you said, running backs and
the
O
roster's
lines at
fine.
least. O lines at least, let's say middling at least, maybe average, but
And
that
this
most people's.
offense, this offense is way worse than that Michigan's last year because
Oh
that
yeah,
Michigan team
absolutely.
won what 7 games, 8 games, and went
Eight.
bowling and beat Bama. This
Beat
Florida
Bama, beat
isn't.
Ohio
They're
State. Yeah,
not
they ain't beating.
sniffing a bowl game, not even
No,
close.
no, they're lucky if they get maybe a couple more wins. Let's just peek at the schedule. They got a bye this coming week.
Hmm.
Um, they ain't beating Texas or A&M. I mean Mississippi State's a maybe. I don't know, man. I mean the rest of
And
that
they're 4
schedule
zero
is full of losses. I mean you could say at Kentucky maybe toss up, but I wouldn't be surprised if Kentucky's not favored in that game.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know where you look on that schedule and be like, oh yeah, they'll win this game. This is one they should get. There's no get right
No,
anymore for them. It's
there's
all, yep,
they're more likely to lose by three scores at minimum for every game than they are to win another one or two games. I
for sure.
mean,
Oh, yep,
Florida State's going to put up as many points as they can. Tennessee should, we've seen things crazier before, but
for sure.
this is as bad a Florida team you've ever seen, isn't it? In
For
your
sure. Oh
lifetime.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
100%. The
yeah,
only Florida teams I can remember being worse. Well, I can't remember a Florida team being this bad.
right.
But apparently they were in like the 80s,
Sure.
and I didn't know anything about Florida football then.
Pre
So
Spurrier, right.
yeah, yeah. Before that, before all that. So I grew up with the Florida of Spurrier. Fun and Gun, Warfel, Johnson. I mean the list goes on.
Yep,
Rex Grossman.
right.
That's who I grew up watching as far as through the 90s and early 2000s was
Hmm.
good to great quarterback play from Florida, and you never had to worry about him being 0 for 13 on third down. Wasn't a
No.
thing.
Do you
Wasn't a
think
thing.
Urban Meyer's Tebow teams ever went through 0 for
No.
13 and
Nope.
lost 26-7? 140 yards of offense.
They played well and lost to Ole Miss at home, and then went ahead and won national championship after that.
Yes.
So
Yeah. It's remarkable. I mean, so I don't know. No, they're done winning, I think.
I think you're right.
I'll give them maybe one of Kentucky or Mississippi State, but I'm just not sure that's true. Their defense will keep them in a lot of these games for a while. Then they're going to get, be on the field for 35 minutes or more. They're
As
going to
the
get run out of
losses pile
gas.
up, yep, as the losses pile up, they'll compete less and less. And if you're a defense, I mean, I understand that. These are kids. These are,
Hmm.
early 20s, maybe mid 20s, some of them,
Yeah.
kids. And it's
Yep.
it's completely natural to go out and play your ass off and get stops and get turnovers and do your part. But you look up at the
Yeah.
scoreboard and you're down 21-3 because your offense can't move the ball because they can't convert third downs.
Right.
And so it's demoralizing.
And
So
the three
after a
points is
while,
because yeah,
yeah,
3 points is because you got them a short field for a
for
field
sure.
goal.
Right. Yep. So
Yeah. Yeah, they're done. And I don't know what they're waiting on. Like this is not going to get better. I mean, whatever. On the flip side, Miami, they didn't look amazing. They turned the ball over just the one time, a bad interception, but I think it may be more this Florida's got a really good defense. And Miami's been looking as good as we said. Hell, they're number one team, we said just a few days ago.
you
And
can
I'm
make
not
that
sure I
argument.
would disagree with that still, but like they looked a little more human than they had the previous few games, especially after that South Florida game when they just annihilated them. But look at Miami, like coming up, they should be able to cruise for a little bit. They got Florida State in 2 weeks,
Hmm.
and they get
If you're going
Louisville,
to take an L,
Stanford.
that's the game.
Yes, exactly. Right. And I think, based on what I've seen between the two teams, I think I like Florida State early in that thinking about that matchup. But the rest, they'll just cruise the rest. They may not be in by within two, three scores the rest of the season. So they look like a virtual lock for a playoff team.
And they will likely play Florida State twice because Clemson is proving
Oh,
they are
boy.
not going to be in this argument at all when it comes to the ACC
No,
championship.
no, they will not. They may, I mean, they're not, Dabo's no, well, I guess we can jump to that in a second here. Anyway, any other thoughts on this Miami Florida game? I think that sort of sums it up. We knew it was going to be an L. We thought it'd be worse. thank God for the Florida defense, I guess, for making it respectable.
Right. And the weather. It
And
rained
the
a lot
weather,
inside Hard
the
Rock, so I
weather.
mean, it was slippery. Guys were
Right.
slipping all over the place. That might have had
Yeah.
something to do with it. And even though the game was kind of close, if you were watching it, you had
Yeah.
never ever got the feeling Florida was going to have a chance to win that ball game. Even when
Not
they made it
likely. Nope.
13-7, you just
Nope.
was watching it like they're not gonna. There's
Right.
there's there's no way the way they're playing. There's no way they make a comeback and beat Miami.
Right. Yeah, the only way that would happen is if there's a slip or a fumble, scoop and score. Like they needed something catastrophic by Miami to happen for them to be able to score again and then, hold Miami off. So it just wasn't happening. But all right, Miami rolls. Florida continues to tumble. Um, Florida State, I think they were favored by 45.
Cover.
Covered cover by themselves. I think the over under was like maybe 60. I forget. No, what was it? 55? I forget what it was, but yeah, they
Yeah.
covered all that. I guess we can skip over that. We can just brush on this Texas mostly because Arch seemingly may have hit the reset button. Had a great game, 18-21, three touchdowns, he rushed for one or rushed for two as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's same Houston State, but I think he needed that game because he's got to play at Florida in 2 weeks, and then Red River a week after that. So
Right.
he's had to get right soon because you talk about defense. We'll get to Oklahoma defense. Boy, have fun with
Nasty.
that one.
They are
Man,
nasty.
right?
And
And then Florida defense. Obviously, we were just talking about them. They're going to put up a fight probably at home. For at least for a while. So Arch. That probably maybe that helps his confidence to get back right. He's maybe got the yips out there, but um,
well, it's Sam Houston State. They're 0 for
it's Sam
4. I
Houston
mean, there's
State,
a
but like he's
reasons.
right, but he's still 18-21. I mean, that's still good, right?
Sure.
He's I don't know if they're 300 yards. He wasn't doing a bunch of checkdowns.
No, and the only thing I didn't like is the whole, and then maybe the defensive back was talking smack to him before
Oh,
the game or
that
during the
was
game, but
cringeworthy.
but
Go
the
ahead.
run in the you go in the end zone and then you just get up and walk over the guy and start staring him down. It's Sam Houston State, man.
Yeah,
Do it against someone with a pulse and then have some swagger. You can't have
right.
swagger against Sam Houston damn State. So
That
that
was
that one's like,
cringe.
yes, very much so. Now I said again, we don't know what was being said. That dude might have
Yeah,
insulted his mama. I'll be telling mama jokes the whole time, and then he gives him a little give back. But still, it's Sam
right.
Houston State. That anything you do to those guys as far as extracurricular is always punching down, no matter what they've said.
Yes, you're never
And
going to look good. No,
there's no way to make you look like a baller and a badass when you're beating
no,
Sam Houston State.
right. That team that
So
you
no
gave
good
up
comes from it.
113 total yards
Yeah.
for Sam Houston
So
State. I mean, that's not much worse than Florida, I guess.
right, do that to an Oklahoma defensive back.
Yes, yes. Go ahead. Do that to Art Nelson Thomas, whatever his name is, that
Yes.
D
Yeah.
lineman.
Yeah. You
if
do
if
that.
you run him over the end zone, you can do a backflip
You,
and headstand
yes.
and whatever you want to do
Uh-huh.
because that
Yep,
guy's a
exactly
man.
right. You can say whatever you want to then, buddy, but not some poor 165-pound defensive back
No.
who plays for Sam Houston State who's going to go on
Mhm.
to be
Yeah.
you know, a phlebotomist or some shit, but after
Right.
school. So that's not
Right. No one knows who he is on campus. Everyone knows who
right.
you are on campus.
Yes.
Even people who don't like football know who you are on campus. This kid is anonymous.
Yeah. You will
So
never. He's said it's just a bad look. It's
it's
a
a
bad
bad
look,
look.
and I hope somebody tells him. But he's gonna
Uh,
get a chance to back that up.
Yep. Right. He didn't seem like that kind of guy either, but maybe it's just
No.
like he's just finally feeling good about himself and that was a mental thing. I don't know. We'll see how that unfolds the next couple weeks here. So, all right. The our game day solution exchange was
Oof.
you talk about one of the worst beatings of a top 10 team in the history of the AP poll or whatever. I don't know for sure. I think I read this was the worst margin of defeat for a top 10 team. And boy, if Illinois fans couldn't be more miserable, it's just two steps forward and 175 backwards.
63 backwards, actually.
63, yeah, 63 to be specific. And the lone touchdown was a
Uh-huh.
busted coverage in the secondary, the Indiana secondary, which that's not, you don't, that's not something that's going to happen very often. The other one was just a sad James Franklin field goal when they're down, 35-3 or whatever it was.
Tell me it was 4th and 1 when they kicked that, because
It was
it's.
it was short. I mean, it was like it was. I think it was. Well, let me just look here because I
It was
remember thinking you
crazy.
should just go for it. What
I
are you
was going
worried
back
about?
and forth to other games, Delaney.
Yeah.
I'm going back and forth, and every time I still see what happened in Indiana. Every time I turned back, Indiana was up like 10 more points,
Yes.
and
It's how it
it's like I
was.
just go away for like the to watch a series and another, and like in the oh, who was it? It was them, and then I was Florida Miami. So I'm
Yeah.
going back and forth between those two, and I watch Florida Miami. They do a series, and Florida come on the field, 3 and out, punt, go to commercial, come back to Indiana, Illinois, and they're up. Now they're up 28-10. I'm like, what the shit's happening?
Right.
Like
It
every
was
time I
an
come back, it's way
avalanche.
more.
Yeah, it was an absolute
Illinois was
avalanche. And
never in that game,
no,
ever
no.
in
The,
that game.
the only way they were is just when the coin flip. They were up. They were
Yeah,
okay then. And by the time Indiana blocked that punt, scoop, and scored, it was like, oh boy, here we go. And then you see, Illinois get a big play, but then you're like, well, what happened? Well, that's a bad bust. That's a Signetic defense is not bust like that. That's not going to happen again. So you better find out a way to pass protect, which you can't do. One, because your offensive line couldn't pass protect against Duke. You should have seen this coming. Two, that IUD line is legit, absolutely legit. They have some athletes in the secondary. They can run at
yep,
linebacker. That's a good football team. I think they're a better team this year than they are last year,
I can see
which is
that.
saying quite a
Yeah,
bit. Mendoza was literally flawless after the first two interceptions or two incompletions. He missed his first two passes and hit the rest 21 in a row.
yeah. Ran it 49 times though for like what 290 or whatever it was,
He ended up with 312 yards rushing.
312. Yeah. If you're
Three
an Illinois
touchdowns. Yeah,
fan, and I guess we could ask Richie this, but
yeah.
if you're an Illinois fan, you if there's going into this game, and you got SC coming up next weekend, right? So it's not that you lost to Indiana.
Mm-mm. No, no,
You
no.
go in there, you can go in against a good Indiana team. You can go in there and lose. You can't lose
Absolutely
like this though, because this
no.
changes. If you're an Illinois fan, you feel way worse about USC coming to town next week
Oh, but you talk about offense that
than
can
you
throw the
do
ball down the
now.
field.
Yeah.
You ain't seen athletes like Makai Lemon. Indiana's got nice athletes, but Makai Lemon, for example, he's
Whole
going to
different
run
ball game there.
roughshod. Yeah,
Yep. So
right.
that'll be that may be a beating as well.
Yes. Yeah. I anticipate them to have a real struggle the next three of the next four games because they get SC at home, then they play at Purdue. That's a game they should win. But then they play Ohio State and a very good Washington team that no one is talking about back-to-back weeks. I think it's likely go 1-3 in those games, and those are the last. Then they get like Northwestern and Maryland's not a gimme. I mean, they're a solid football team.
They figured out
It's in
quarterback, didn't they?
Champaign. Yes, they did. I think this kid's going to be a good one. Yep.
Hmm.
They get that game in Champaign, but they get they get Rutgers and one other team I'm forgetting. But anyway, they look like an 8-4 team based on the rest of their schedule, and that's about who they are, really. I mean, like that's good. Like last year, they had historic number of bounces go their way. Like they were 5-1 and six, no, 5-1 or
Right.
6-1 in one possession games, and that's going to even out in eventually, right? They beat a historically bad down Michigan team. Like they get all these breaks, and they people like look at this like, oh well, Illinois is back. Well, no, when they match up against teams that are comparable talent or more talent, they're going to struggle. They struggle across both lines. They don't have elite skill guys. And while Altmaier's a nice quarterback, like he's still Luke Altmaier that he looks like he did 2 years ago when he's at Illinois. Like he's kind of taking a sweet time in the pocket, which he did not have
Not
yesterday.
with that O line, you can't.
And no, and like it was just they're gonna struggle to compete with the next three of the next four teams. I have a feeling on offense, and their defense is big. Half their secondary is uh, either out or really dinged up. So I think res- it's going to be back to what normally looks like for a Illini team: 7-5, 8-4. That 10-win season last year, that's like a once every 20 year kind of thing. and that was even with they were in the the Big Ten West for a while and still couldn't manage to compete with Purdue's and Wisconsin. So yeah, this is that was way bigger beating than I thought, and then they just Indiana just did whatever they wanted all game after that Illinois touchdown. From the rest of it, just nothing. They couldn't do anything, and they ran the ball for 2 yards total, 20 carries for 2 yards. I mean, a lot of those are sack yards, but their running backs 11 carries for 29 yards, a long of six. I mean, other than the busted play, their longest play was 14 yards. I mean,
That's
the
crazy.
offense was a hell of a lot better
Yeah,
than Florida's. Frankly, look at this total yards for Illinois, 160, and 59 of those were in one play.
yeah.
It's
Indiana's one of
just
those teams that if I mean they're going to finish up 11-1, probably 10-2, and you're not going to see them across from you come playoff time.
no, absolutely. Yeah, let's take a look there. I mean, they should be able to be okay. They play at Iowa this weekend.
Yeah.
This game at Oregon,
Okay. L
and at Penn State. Those are
L.
two games like, all right, we'll see what you're made of here,
Yep.
right?
Does that 10 and
Um,
2 get you in the playoff though? I mean, where's your quality win?
I
Illinois,
mean,
but
you
it
don't
depends
have
on what Illinois does.
if Illinois looks like we think they're going to be 8-14. That's not. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe.
Well, I
I mean,
mean,
they
you
they
don't.
kind of need Illinois to make. I mean, Michigan State maybe you give them a run for the money. It's a home game though; they'll probably win that. UCLA's historically bad at Maryland. I mean, that's a game that they could overlook this with this Penn State game. Wisconsin's back to being awful like they were in the '80s, and then Purdue's pretty bad
Besides
too. So,
besides Penn State and Oregon, though, looking at that those are, I mean, their wins are going to be over 7-5, 8-4, maybe 9-3 teams at best
yep,
9-3 teams. So
right.
it almost feels like they're going to
They
need
kind of need
help
to
getting
split one of
in.
those. Yeah,
Yeah, they're going to split one of those to have a good win, a quality win to get them over the finish line at 11-1, or they're going to need to hope for a whole lot of 9-3 teams, and they're sitting at 10-2, and you
right.
kind of got to take them.
I, I don't. That's a tough place to go win in Oregon. I mean, that's
It's
in
a lot to
Happy
ask
Valley too.
of
Penn State.
any
It's a lot
team.
to
Yeah,
ask, right? Either
yeah.
team. But if there's one thing that I've noticed that um, about Oregon is that they're struggling to stop the run. Like Northwestern had over 200 yards rushing on them. They ended up mattering because they blown them
Indiana
out.
can
But
run the ball.
Indiana can run the ball, so if there's going to be a place you're going to win, it might be at Oregon compared to at Penn State. I don't know. I mean, no one knows anything about Penn State. They have not paid anybody that's worth even discussing. I have no idea if they're any. We haven't even talked about them on this show because they haven't played anybody that's
Nope.
worth. We don't. They're a mystery still. Drew Adler's still the same middling quarterback. It appears.
They get
Um,
Oregon soon, though, right?
they get Oregon. Is it this weekend?
Yeah. Okay. Is it,
This weekend. So we'll talk
you'll
about
know.
that tomorrow. Yeah, we'll know more about them. It's in Happy Valley, so there's that. But yeah, I'm with you. IU kind of needs to win one of those games. They can't drop anything else though. They cannot
No.
drop at
Oh,
Iowa
for
this
sure.
weekend or anything else. It's over. It's over,
Yep.
Johnny. Right?
Yeah. Can't drop that. Michigan State game's huge. You got to have
Yep.
that one,
Yep.
and then if assuming you lose at Oregon at Penn State, yeah, you have to have every single other game, and then maybe even get a little help to get in.
I think that's probably true. Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, Illinois. You know, have fun with that, Illinois fans. This is who you are until Burt can start recruiting the elite talent along the lines of scrimmage, especially. They haven't even really been a great running team, have a great offensive line for a couple of years now. So I don't know. Like they better start spending some money. All right, next one, Norman, Oklahoma. Jackson Arnold comes home, and
He was not
they're
welcome,
not really welcome. No, not welcome at all. His
but
numbers don't do him any justice, really, because
right.
he was sacked um, uh, 10 times, although the NCAA come back and said, no, there was only 9 sacks. So there's that. Nevertheless, that last drive that Oklahoma had, or I'm sorry, Auburn had, um, after Oklahoma went up 24-17, I've never seen a more dominant D-line performance than that.
They just pinned their
Stack,
ears
sack,
back.
sack.
No threat of a
And you
run.
know they're going to do it. In Auburn's offensive line, they could have had 17 guys there blocking, and it wouldn't have mattered.
They could have had every offensive line on the team out there, and they
Yes,
ain't blocking those
yes.
poor dudes.
No. It was remarkable. Um, and they so much so like it was inevitable they're going to get a safety. They'd probably been better off just it was good they just got a safety, get it out of the way, just do it early,
Right.
because there was no chance of them going getting a first down, let alone that was just so dominant. I was couldn't believe it. I felt made me feel good about how Michigan held up pretty well compared to that against
Right.
that
Yeah, that
defensive
was
line,
total
because that's a
domination.
nasty defense
The only
in
thing that
general.
overshadows that defense is the egregious refereeing jobs. I mean, some of those
Yes,
calls were just. I mean, the pass interference was
the
blatant, and the ref has his back turned to the play. Your
yes
back's turned, so you don't call it. The guy coming off the
the
field, a
field
deception play,
that's
and they were.
that's a 15-yard penalty, man.
Yes, it sure is. And they were instructed, and Hugh Freeze said this after the game. They were told over and over again during the offseason, during SEC media days, deception plays are not allowed anymore. You can't be trying that fakery stuff, bringing someone off the sideline in a substitution and lining them up, just
Sure.
trying to be sneaky. You got to, and dude totally was walking off the field.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
He
his
hit to
acting, he should get
almost
a
the
Grammy.
sideline. Yeah.
He should get a
Yes,
Grammy for that
absolutely.
acting job.
He did
And
great.
they should mail him a Golden Globe because he was walking off like he was just going to get subbed. He's unbuckling his
Yep.
chin strap. He's coming off the field. Next thing you know, down the sideline, and for
Yeah.
whatever reason decided, nope, that's totally legit. You can do it. And then the SEC come out today and said,
No,
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 they can't
no,
do
you
that.
can't.
That should have been a
Yeah.
15-yard penalty. But
Yeah.
that doesn't.
It's been doesn't who
There's no
cares now? Didn't
repercussions.
matter. There's
There's
nothing. That was a touchdown play. There's
yes.
nothing to it. You can say you're sorry all you want, but at the end of the day, and the end of the game, there's still a one in the loss column for Auburn.
Yep.
That's Yeah, I know that this has been illegal for forever. Like
Yes.
Michigan ran one the exact same play, similar, I should say, against Rutgers in Harbaugh's first year, and they got a 15-yard penalty that was called intent to deceive, is what the referee
Yeah.
called it over the loudspeaker. Like, okay, well, whatever. It wasn't
Well,
even this egregious. But
it's been a rule for a while. I guess the only thing is what Hugh Freeze was kind of getting at is that apparently teams last year and in previous years have been pushing the envelope just a little bit on it. And I don't
okay,
remember a specific instance, but apparently
right,
teams have been flirting with that a little bit and walking the
enough for them to
line.
reiterate,
Right
say,
enough for them
look,
to bring up, hey, yeah, we don't do
knock
this
it
in this
off.
league. We will penalize you 15 yards, and then they don't penalize them 15 yards.
Well,
So
apparently Brent Venables didn't get that memo or missed that email.
no,
I don't
well
know.
you still, I mean, hell, you ain't moved the ball.
Take it.
If you're Oklahoma, it's was it 10
Seriously,
to
yeah.
10, something like that at the time.
Yep.
Something you've not moved the ball very well. Shit, let's pull it out and see what happens. We get penalized 15 yards, we'll kick it deep and pin them
Right.
deep and get our defense on the field. It's a good
Uh,
gamble
Absolutely. I mean,
if you're
that's in the
Venables.
difference in the game. They
Yep.
they cannot run. Oklahoma cannot run the ball without Mateer. I mean, they had 35 yards rushing. Mateer
That's a
had
problem.
29 of those.
Yeah,
That's
that's a problem.
that was a problem against Michigan. It looked like it was going to be a problem against the week before. I could
That's why
forget
they
they
were
played.
3 of
Oh,
12 on
Illinois
third
State.
down.
Yes, exactly. So Mateer is their offense, and that's good, but he that's going to come back to bite them, right? I mean,
It will.
that's not sustainable.
Not a
He
winning
can't run the
formula for,
ball.
for long term.
No, I mean he's put racking up miles on his tires already. Like with 19 times against Michigan, he had 10 against Auburn. Those are going to add up, and that's going to be a problem for them if they cannot convert on third down, and if they can't run the ball. I mean, that's a good Auburn football team, but they're going to face better teams.
Yep. They're going to face better
Oklahoma is
defenses than
so,
Auburn.
but like way
Texas
better
Texas
defenses.
may take, I
Texas,
mean, he may not
for
survive the
example,
Texas game running the ball like that.
right? Yeah, no, they're absolutely. They can only hope that Arch is still
Yeah.
finding his way to stay in that game, because you talk about a good defense. They'll,
They're
they'll
good.
shut down Mateer.
Here's your crazy stat. You ready? That defense, as dominant as it is, still does not have a turnover all year.
That's amazing. I thought I heard that. I'm like, no, I must have misheard. Maybe I meant this game. No, the whole season,
Two
four
times in
games.
history, Delaney, two times in history, teams have started 4-0 and not had a turnover. Oklahoma now and Coastal
Yep.
Carolina in 2022. Only two teams in
I'll be
history.
damned. Wow. That's pretty
Yeah.
impressive. I mean, and again, not sustainable, right? There's a reason that's the all-time record.
Yep. They're like
Just
minus
started.
six for the year on turnovers.
Wow. And Mateer's not done turning the ball over either. I mean, he's a bit of a gambler. He'll take some shots that he probably shouldn't. Now, the good
Where,
news is he'll make up for those with some plays, but they're
what's
not
your
going to be able. They're going
opinion
to have to
on
force some turnovers.
what's your opinion on them pumping him for Heisman? I don't get where they're getting that right now, this early. I mean, I guess because there's just nobody
No.
really else. But
Well,
they're just. I mean, this is the front runner. I mean, the odds
yes.
are saying he's going to win it, but I don't know. He doesn't look. He only looks dominant because there's no one else on that Oklahoma offense that scares you
Yes.
besides him. So
That's
that's
true.
the only reason why he looks the way he looks.
I agree 100%. I mean, like, there's no one else has really been like, oh, this is not Jaden Daniels, or no one's looking
Burks maybe.
invincible. What's that?
But the wide receivers at Burks, who's pretty good.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, yes, yes. Deion Burks. Yeah. Otherwise, there's no one across the country really that's really lighting it up either.
Um,
And Oklahoma has some history of putting some Heisman guys in there, so there's that history probably. But uh, he's just been a little bit Superman-y for a couple games now against Michigan and Auburn. So I guess there's that. But otherwise, like, you know, he does make some poor decisions at times, and he took care of the ball here, but like that, he's not infallible. So and they got some tough games coming up. Like Oklahoma's schedule is brutal
yeah, they'll have a chance to win that.
after this weekend.
Joey
They got to
Joey
buy this weekend.
touchdowns would be if that kick goes to the upright last Saturday. Joey touchdowns would be at the top of that list.
Yep, absolutely would.
But
Isn't that funny? This is subtle, you know,
yep.
wide right. They get Texas at South Carolina, Ole Miss at Tennessee, at Alabama, Mizzou,
Ooh,
and I mean, they're not going to go through that slate with him playing like that, not able to run the ball and be undefeated. And that you can't run the ball. You don't force turnovers. I don't care what decade you play in, whether it's 1800s or this
right.
century. You're not going to have a great win-loss record. It's just not going to happen. So Kent State, they get one more tune-up before they hit the last eight or 7 or 8 scheduled conference games, and then that's each one's more difficult than the next.
For sure. And then coming into the year, you think that Missouri is that's not a big deal there, but they
Yeah,
are they are
want to bet?
damn good. They're
Want to bet?
damn
They're a
good.
good football team.
Uh-huh.
Yes, you better be happy that game's at home. That's the only thing. But you get back-to-back road. That might be the worst back-to-back road games of any conference team in the
Coming
in
here and going to
history.
Alabama. Jeez.
That's rough. You might as well just stay in Knoxville and just take your time getting down to the Tuscaloosa next
Right.
week. Oh, okay. Well, Auburn played pretty well. I think they're a pretty good football team. Um,
Yeah, if you're an Auburn fan, you
Especially
shouldn't
since
feel
they got
bad.
no. You should be mad because of the
For
calls and
sure.
stuff, but
But you don't
but you
feel
know you could compete.
yep.
You went into a hostile environment and competed, despite the fact that they have an elite. I'd say at this point, I'm gonna call it. They have the best defense in the country, the best defensive line for sure. Oklahoma, that is, and you competed with them for 4 quarters, and it took a fluke illegal play to put them on top. And then once they got on top, they were able to just, like you said, pin their ears back, and that D line just ate heartily. In fact, that last drive, especially. Yeah. All right.
Speaking
Well,
of getting it wrong,
oh
this is
boy,
another
did we
this
ever
is
nail that? Well, yeah, Tulane, they'll hang in there for a while. Well, I guess if you the first quarter and there's only 10-0.
yeah, yeah, I said low key game of the weekend, folks. Low key game of
Yes.
the weekend.
This is on the CW network, I think, too, which is probably a
It
good place
was
for it since it was 45-10. Wow.
right. Yep. I think Gilmore Girls
I,
had a couple episodes right after this one was over, so
sure. They had
we'll
a
stay tuned for
quantum
that.
leap run
Yeah.
before, like a marathon. Gilmore Girls after, and
Gilmore
Boy Meets
Girls.
World.
Yep.
Oh, well, not much to say. We're going to have plenty to talk about with Ole Miss coming up. They have their schedule
Yeah.
gets a little more complicated. Like, for
And
example, this weekend.
and Chambliss, and I'll tell you what, I'll it ain't Thursday, and we'll talk more about it Thursday, but I'll call it right now. I think they deal LSU their first loss. I do. Chambliss is he is a superstar, and he's been at backup
Yes.
to Simmons, and it took Simmons getting hurt for this guy to bust on the scene. I don't know how you give that job back to Simmons the way he's playing. I don't.
Look at that. He had over 400 yards total offense,
Hmm.
a couple touchdowns. I mean, the, yeah, this Ole Miss, like they're going to have their plenty of opportunities to show that they're for real, and I think this is a pretty good first test here. But this weekend, I'm with you. Like we'll talk about that, but this is a real good opportunity for them to say, look, no, this is a different team. we're going to beat this LSU team in Oxford. We can do that. They'll win this game. All right, I may have misspoke. At Georgia, at Oklahoma won't be exactly the most exciting thing for.
Yeah. Talk about back-to-back games, away
That's what I
games.
mean.
You thought,
Yeah, at Tennessee, at Alabama is not nothing to sneeze at either. But then they get a Citadel in there. They get a what
yeah,
looks like to be a bad Florida team, and they get at Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl. So, this is favorable. They're going to have to do their part to win one, two, three, four. There's like four games in here that they need to split probably at worst.
for
They
sure.
really need to win. Um, Probably this weekend is probably the most important game. It's a home game. You get an LSU team who's maybe they're finding their way on offense. I'm not sure. Their defense is going to be good. If you can score some points on this LSU defense, which arguably may be the best defense in the country, you might be on your way. I mean, you're going to struggle to do really well at Georgia, at Oklahoma, but this is a really good litmus test of where you're at as a school. If you get your doors beat off this weekend by LSU, just forget it. Like this
Yeah.
is this is who you are.
8-4, here you come.
8-4, here we come. Exactly. You
So
can beat Citadel, Mississippi State, Florida all you want. You're gonna get smoked by everyone else.
yeah, Lane Kiffin kind of needs that LSU game at home because
Hmm.
if you want to, if 10-2 is the benchmark, that's what we keep saying, right? 10-2 is
Yep.
the benchmark to try to make the playoff. Well, Lane Kiffin's, I mean, they had arguably the best Ole Miss team ever last year and was at home watching the playoff.
Right.
So you got to win this game because splitting the Georgia Oklahoma game back to back is going to be really really difficult, and I don't care who it
Yes.
is. So you're
Right.
those going both those places and winning is going to be very hard to do. So you got to hold serve at home at least, and then maybe still one of those two. I don't know which one you do, but the
I'm not sure which one it is. More likely Oklahoma if you
talking
had to
about
pick one, I guess.
Chambliss, pass for 307, run for 112, one of four quarterbacks in Ole Miss history to ever do that. Backup.
Yeah, you gotta. If he doesn't start, he has to take lots of snaps
Yep.
when he comes back. If he comes back, um, that's a that's a tough thing for. I guess it's a good problem to have, but uh, that's the best quarterback depth in the country. I think we can agree on that. So,
Oh, for sure. Two superstars.
well, yeah,
Kiffin
for sure. So, yeah, he knows how to
fa-
put some points on the board.
falls in a pile of shit, smells like a rose.
Yep,
Okay, it's
that's
funny.
him. That's just fail upwards his whole career, basically.
It sure has. Well, good football coach though.
Yeah, he's a good football coach, absolutely. So, all right, your Vols, is there anything to say there? Everyone stay healthy.
Yeah, everyone healthy. Everyone, no, not a single player went to the medical tent during the whole game. That's the win in itself.
There you go.
Um, Heupel's 40-16 now at Tennessee, so
That's better than
that's
Billy
that'll
Napier.
that'll get it done, right? So yeah, that's it. Just kind of took care. He was up 56-10. Those
No,
four
who
teams.
cares?
Yeah, is in the you had people. I think they had the Spirit Squad coming from the sideline playing the secondary
Right.
on some of those.
I
So
did see some girls with glitter on her face with
yeah,
putting a helmet on. I don't know if that was
trying to
okay.
yeah, trying to guard trying to defend the post pattern. So, but it is what it
Right.
is. So that's a solid win and
She thinks it's going to be a sail route, and it's really a
yeah,
post. And I get sometimes you get turned around. That happens.
going to
UAB.
dangerous territory next Saturday. So
Yeah. Let's see. What game would that be? Oh, well, this game, which we'll talk about in a day or two, that looks a little more scary than it did, I don't know, let's say 30 days ago. Would you
for
say?
sure. Yes, 30 days ago you could have said 1-10. I'd have told you that
Yeah,
3.
yeah,
4, maybe
right.
Jeff Levy's going to call ball plays really well and do that. Now it's about a 7 or an 8 as
Yep,
far as worry, because that I mean
absolutely.
they can throw the ball around. They can't run it that well. They can't pass protect all that well. Their defense is okay. They just play good winning football. Levy's a good
Right,
football
yes,
coach.
right.
Mississippi State fans need to go ahead and prepare themselves now. Jeff Levy is passing through. That's all he's doing. He's
Yes.
passing
His
through on his
house
way to a
is,
bigger
he's
job.
renting. He's
Yes.
renting. He may
Yep.
be paying a mortgage, but that's just to build up some equity and flip a house. He's not
For
staying
sure.
there forever.
All the
It's just
cars he
not
drives
happening.
are leased cars. He didn't buy a single
Right.
one of them.
Right.
He's going to
No,
be
exactly.
returning them to the dealership.
The local dealership, whatever the BMW dealership, whatever he's driving, they're going to ask for that car back
Yep.
before
They're
he
going to be
leaves
getting it
town
back.
in a
Yep.
year or so, maybe in less than a year. The game of the early slot, or slate of games, was this Texas Tech Utah game, which was a doozy. I didn't anticipate a 10-3 halftime score, and they were just hand the ball off to each other, turnovers the first half too. So But then Texas Tech, they're a they're a legit football team. I'm not saying
They're very
Utah's
good.
not, but you go in there and put up 34 points on that Utah team. That's going to be pretty unlikely to happen to anyone else. And this is done with their backup quarterback too. So I think Texas Tech is legit. You talk about some monsters on that defensive line. They're an impressive football team.
That's money well spent right there, huh?
Hmm.
That's
Very
that's
well
money well.
spent.
That's what happens when you spend money. You get a good roster, and you go win
Yep.
tough football games like this by a lot.
Yes.
You know,
By a lot.
they forced Utah 414 on third down, 0-2 on fourth down, 263 total yards. That's a knocked well they knocked one Utah knocked one quarterback out, and the quarterback that came
Yep.
in, talk about embarrassment of riches at
That's
quarterback.
just said.
Utah
Yeah.
too, or Texas
Absolutely.
Tech as well.
Hammond was excellent.
Yes, he was.
Excellent. And then Colin Dickey's brother Cameron had a nice game, 13 touches, 67 yards with two tutties.
Yeah,
Dampier looked okay. Like he had some bad, he had a couple interceptions, didn't look great, So that Texas Tech D line just heated them up, and I was just really impressed. Like they spent money along the lines of scrimmage, which is where you win ball games. It's
it
not
seems
that
to be that
difficult.
way. And it's true. We said it before. If you've listened to us at all, that's at every level of football there's ever been played. The line of
Yep.
scrimmage is where you win or lose. You could be flashy and have all the big wide receivers and
Yeah,
the head
go for it.
honcho quarterback, but if you can't get it done in the line of scrimmage, you are not going to win many football games.
Right. Which is
Not big
why
ones.
we'll go back. Which is why you go back to Oklahoma. That's gonna be a problem. That's not sustainable. That's gonna end up with them losing two, three, 4 games because they can't run the ball. Now their defense, they got half of it right. Defensive line's elite. The offensive line, oof, not so good. Well, they got a true freshman starting at left tackle too, and they got I think a redshirt freshman at right guard. So that's part of the. Actually, he might be a true freshman too as right guard because he was supposed to play left guard, but you don't want two freshmen on the same side of the line
Yeah,
scrimmage. That would be a problem.
that'll be a very
So they
leaky line of
moved him over to
scrimmage.
right
Yeah.
guard. Yeah, exactly. So their future looks bright, but yeah, this is that's gonna be a problem to run the ball and protect. All right.
One thing about Texas Tech you don't like is the penalties. They were 14 for 122
Yes.
yards. Very, very penalized.
Yes. Very, very penalized. Yeah. That's again, you can survive that a game or so, but that's also problematic. Like that. Yeah, there's some late hits kind of stuff and things, extended drives that's going to catch up to you. And then he hung around. And this score is a little bit not indicative of what the game really looked like. And Tech kind of put it away. Obviously, in the fourth quarter, they scored 24 unanswered. Um, and so that, it looks worse than it really was up until that last 15 minutes or so. But yeah, all right, more to come there.
What's
They
their
look about
schedule?
even though, really. Their
What's their
schedule. Let's take
schedule?
a look at Texas schedule. Yeah. All right. So they got at Houston,
Oh boy,
and then yeah, right. You talk about back-to-back tough games. That's not exactly a good time. Kansas
no.
at Arizona State. They sneaked out a win against Baylor. Last second field goal. Oklahoma State's historically bad. Again, I think this might be the end for I'm a man, I'm 40.
Hmm.
Kansas State is looking like a pretty mediocre to bad football team. And then maybe BYU, which we haven't really talked about much about. They scary, and then
Is Texas
UCF,
Tech
and then
undefeated?
I don't know where they. I think they're probably favored in all these games. Maybe not the Arizona State game, but everywhere else they're favored by a point or two or more. I
And
think
the
so.
Arizona State you've seen that played in Starkville a couple of weeks ago is not the Arizona State that's
Yep.
going to be able to get it done
No,
against
they are
Texas
not.
Tech.
Nope, absolutely not. So I I think that's likely that maybe they hit it with one loss somewhere in there, but like they look as
Worse than one
good as
loss, right?
likely. Yeah, worse. Yeah, exactly. They look as good of a team that's going to go undefeated as anyone else in the country based on the schedules and
Right.
what we've seen from them so far.
I
I would
think
not be
they're
surprised.
11
I
and
know
1, 12 and 0. And with that schedule, you better be if you're going to make the
you kind of
playoff.
need to, right?
Well, you got
Exactly.
to. There was that Big 12, right? I mean,
Right, right,
you
right.
win that conference you're in anyway. But where you're in
Yes,
is where you're
That
ranked.
matters. Right. Yeah,
Yes,
you
for
want
sure.
you want a better little seating there. You gotta be careful. Old Rich Rod came home in West Virginia. You never know.
Yeah.
I'm sure Pitt fans aren't happy since he won the backyard brawl last weekend. Yeah, Texas Tech, legit football team.
very much.
All right. All right. So we get down to Georgia Tech took care of business. Vanderbilt, whoa, they took care of business.
Georgia State won that
And
game
then,
last year, by the way.
oh yeah, that's right. That's right. That was a
They
revenge
beat
game.
Vandy last
That's
year.
right.
Well, payback is.
That
That's
was a
why.
revenge
That's why they
game.
hung 70.
Yes. Yes, indeed. That's right. I forgot about that. All right. Next game, two games here that were they're really good games here in the middle of the day are Michigan playing Nebraska and then South Carolina, Mizzou. Which one do you want to talk about first?
We could finish up with Michigan, Nebraska. So we'll talk about Missouri, South Carolina real quick.
Sounds good. Yeah. I saw enough of this to feel like okay, Bo Prabula and Hardy and that offense, that's legit offense. They can run the ball for 200, just under 300 yards. Um, they're a damn good football team. Mizzou is
They're
that.
very good.
Hell, we're not really. I think they're 23 is not the right ranking for them. They should be higher than that. There's teams ahead of them that they shouldn't be. Not that the rankings matter, but this is a good football team. And if you have them on your schedule, this is not a walk in the park. They're going to be a tough game.
They go to Bama in a couple weeks. Go to
Hmm.
Bama in a couple weeks. South Carolina, boy, I tell you what, Lenore Sellers,
Falling
that
off.
kid played. But he played well. I mean, look at that. I mean, that's a pretty good stat line. 18,
Yes,
28,
absolutely.
302, two
Right,
touchdowns. That's not bad. But the only problem is he had negative 28 yards rushing. So that made South
right.
Carolina. All the other backs had 19 yards. That's it.
On
So
what, about 10 carries, 11 carries.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's a
negative
problem.
28. There's 5 sacks, so that plays a big part of the negative 28, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
that is what it is. But yeah, just not just they. Missouri did way better against them as far as on defense than I thought they would. South
Hmm.
Carolina was 3 of 11 on third down. Their average yards to go was 12 and a half yards.
Oh,
So they were just
Jesus.
busy, yeah, just going backwards. So Missouri's good. Hardy's may be the best back in the SEC, which is crazy because no one
I think he's,
thought that
yeah,
going
he's
in.
maybe one of the top two or three in the country, maybe top five for certain.
You can make that
He's
argument for
legit.
sure. You can make that argument. And so Drinkwitz has got it going over there. He's
Hmm.
another one of those guys that does like Winningham does at Utah. He gets these kids as freshmen and he brings them up, and they're not full of 5 stars, 4 stars.
Hmm.
They're not slam full of transfers much. Although Bo is definitely a transfer from Penn State, but they just
Right.
he just cultures that and brings it up naturally, like the old the like traditionally.
Right.
And they just and this is Missouri football. And it's because this is how it works out. Every 3 years, 4 years, they have a really good team, and then they fall down, and then he builds it back up with the underclassmen come up when
After
everyone's
class.
juniors and seniors and fifth-year seniors. He
Right.
has a really good football team, and then the cycle goes over and over. That's how he's doing it,
Right.
over and over. So next year they may be 3-9 next year.
Right.
They may be 11-1 this year. They may be 10-2
Although
this year.
with the portal, you can find a quarterback to plug in and play that will
Makes
kind of
so much
help
difference
elevate that offense. So it's a
for
little
sure.
easier than it was, uh, you know, 4 or 5 years ago. But yeah, good football team. Let's take a look at their schedule coming up
They go to
here.
Bama, and you'll know
We
about
go to
Missouri here in a
Bama.
couple weeks.
Yep. Right. Babin, they got to go to Bama and Auburn back to back, and
Well,
then
they got
at
Bama at
Vandy.
home. That's at
Yeah.
home, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Oh, I thought it
Oh,
was too. Okay, Bama. Okay. Now that's 11 o'clock kick, or, local time kick. That's
what was that game doing at
that's a
11?
dangerous
That had
game.
to be set before the season. What was that game at
It's
11 for?
probably that's still business to me. That's silly. That's a 2:30 CBS game, isn't it?
Should
Or
be.
3:30 CBS game.
It should be. It should be a primetime game. How that's at 11 o'clock
Absolutely.
kick when you
Right.
ain't got time to get liquored up going there. I mean,
No.
not much
No, no,
time.
no. Which is probably good for Alabama in some
It's
ways,
very good
although
for sure.
that's but then at Auburn, at Vandy, A&M, Mississippi State, at Oklahoma, and you get a breather at Arkansas at the end. But Mizzou's gonna, we're gonna find out who they are in about 2 weeks. Actually, about 3 weeks, I guess. When they play Bama, they get a bye before the Bama game, so that's
Oh,
that
that's
little
good.
prep for them. So that's helpful for them. But that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 game stretch, they'll earn that playoff spot. Absolutely.
Well, you got to
I
hold
don't
serve
know
at
that.
home, and you got to
Yes.
find out. You got to find a way to split at Arkansas, Oklahoma, Vandy, and Auburn. You got to go two and
Yep.
two in those, and you got to hold serve at home to
Right.
get to 10-2 and get in the playoff. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, I think this is Arkansas looks like a pretty bad football team. I think you got to
On
win this
defense,
one. You lose this on defense at least, yeah, yeah. Oklahoma I mean, I don't know. Like, are you more likely to win Auburn, Vandy, or Oklahoma? I guess you'd probably say Vanderbilt. I don't know. Like, they just have their whole goals are in front of them still. Absolutely. They have the schedule to be able to make a playoff run, but we'll see if they can hold up, if this is sustainable where they're at. But you got good defense, good offensive line, running back, and quarterback. That's a
yep,
pretty good recipe for success. I don't care who you're
it's a
playing.
nice
So,
start.
and none of these teams are like juggernauts, right? I mean, there's some really good football teams in there, but there's none like if you're a Mizzou fan, you ain't scared of Bama. I mean, you've seen Bama in the past, but you've seen them the last year or two, including this year. They're beatable, especially in Columbia. So, yeah.
Yep, I could see him finishing 10-2. I could see him winning at Vandy. I could see him winning at Arkansas, and then dropping the Auburn and Oklahoma game, and that
Hmm.
10-2, you might be in the playoff. Very possible.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that would be a fair. I mean, it all seems what shake out, but like that's certainly a reasonable expectation at this point. So. All right, we'll get to this one here, Michigan, Nebraska. You have some data points and notes you want to get to. I'll let you kick that off then.
Well, I was going back and forth between this and was a Ole Miss and Tulane and
Hmm.
Carolina and Missouri. So all that was kind of on at the same time. So I flipped back and forth, but I stayed on Michigan, Nebraska for a bit. And, Underwood was what, 12-22, 105. So they still don't, to me, they're still holding them back from trying to push the ball down the field a little bit, as long as completion was 16 yards. So
Yep.
it's just like they give him more. They did give him more leash, and they ran him more. They ran him what, 8 times. So that's
Yeah,
about
which
right.
is a little misleading because he only ran
Yeah,
him once in the first half,
right. And
and the one
that one was
time,
a wide six.
37-yard touchdown.
Yep, yep. But it's like the seas parted when he ran that QB. It's like
Yes.
Nebraska had no idea, and they're a solid defensive unit. They're not
Yeah.
terrible, but they're a
No.
solid unit, and it's like they never seen that. They never dreamed he would do that,
No.
which means that it was really Michigan didn't really do it a whole lot.
No. No. They
And
they've
of
never
course,
went five wide and split that out. They'd not shown that this year. That was the first time they've shown that look all season. But
and I
it should have been
guess,
like, hey, oh, hey, ho, hey, this guy's pretty fast, and so we might want to
yes.
like not be in man coverage right now.
And when you could turn around and hand it off to Justice Haynes, you really don't need to run your quarterback that much. And you really don't
Right.
need to throw it that much. I mean, that dude's running the ball. What did he run for? He ran for, I got it on here. Oh, yeah, 149, 17 carries, 149. That'll
Yep.
get the job done right there.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
overall, I said solid win, and I called it by two scores, and it wasn't for the Hail Mary by Nebraska at the end of the first half. That's what happens.
Yeah.
I would love to have had an in-room camera on you whenever that pass was
Oh my
completed at the end of
God.
the first half, because I'm
I,
sure
I,
there was explicits.
there may have been a remote thrown,
It could have been. Yep, yep. I believe that. So,
perhaps. Perhaps.
but yeah, that the only thing is the Nebraska. Rolla played pretty well. 30 of 20, 30 of 41, 308, three
Hmm.
touchdowns. That's a good stat line. The only problem is they were 2 of 13 on third down. So while he had a good
Right.
game, they didn't sustain drives. So it was kind of when he when
No.
he when he made hay as in chunk plays and they scored,
Yep.
especially with the Hail Mary at the end of the first half. So that's just
Right.
a throw your hands up if you're a Nebraska defender, Nebraska fan and coach. You just should have that happen sometimes. So,
Right.
but overall, solid win by Nebraska by Michigan. Nebraska's not terrible, so
Mm-mm. Not at all.
they're going to be probably a 9-3 ball team, 8-4, depending on their schedule. But that's
Yeah.
Michigan had to have it for Michigan to
Yes.
be what they want to try to be
100%.
this year. If that's a win you got to go in and get, because it's not going to be easier. So yeah, that's a. It was.
No.
I thought it was just a solid workmanlike win by Michigan. I was good to see Underwood get a little bit more leash, a little bit more play, and then the whole thing is next game, let's take another step.
Yes.
Let's try to be a little bit more aggressive passing the ball, because eventually you're going to play teams that are be like, okay, that dude can't throw it to beat us. We're going to load up on Haynes, and we'll see what Underwood can do. He's going to have to make
Right.
make big time throws to beat us. Just Nebraska really didn't have the
And
horses to do that. They just couldn't stop
they
Justin
they
Fields.
don't.
Yeah.
Right. And that was why I was you know, mildly confident that they could win this game because that defensive line struggled to stop Cincinnati on the road on the ground, and their interior line is just okay, and they're one of the guys 275 pounds. I mean, that's kind of guy that's going to get pushed around a lot, and that happened. Michigan center had an incredible game. I don't know whether he graded out yet. I'll have to see what Pro Football Focus says, but he was responsible for um, two of the long touchdown runs for Haynes and Marshalls because he was able to chip and then get out to the next level and block that linebacker or safety. So yeah, they looked, they were able to run the ball. That was why I was hopeful. It was just a weird game, like you know that. I'll just break it down on what you talked about. For the first thing is the score. Nebraska's like a scrappy, hang in there, makes enough plays. Rayola takes what the defense gives him by and large. He's not afraid to check down all the time, and they did a lot of that. I mean, that's you take what you're given, right? If you get 10, 12 yards, fine. Don't take a shot down the field for 30 if there's double coverage. So I thought he played pretty well. Michigan's defensive line was just legit. They had 7 or 8 sacks, and he just was on his back or running for his life. And when he's off schedule, he's not the same guy. Rayola, that is, and most guys are not. But like this, his difference between him being on schedule and off schedule, running, scrambling, is just night and day difference. His passing ability and completion percentage. The end of the half thing was like some of the worst clock management I've ever seen in my life. Like it. Did you see how it unfolded? Like
No,
how
no,
that
no, I
had
didn't
to
get to
come
see it.
happen. So let
Oh,
me see if I can try to articulate this. So basically, Nebraska has the ball. It's about a minute to go. Michigan has 3 timeouts, and it's like second and I think it was like 19, something like that. And Nebraska is just happy to run the clock out. So, and apparently Michigan was happy with that too. So they run the ball after. So Nebraska take a timeout, and they ran the ball out of the timeout to just said run the clock out because this is basically midfield.
right.
And so Michigan's just letting the clock tick, 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 tick. Where like if you get a stop on third down, you're going to have upwards of 45 seconds to a minute to get in field goal range. Which your kicker kicked a 56-yarder, and that thing was good from 70. So he's got a
Right.
leg. We know he was 7 for 7 over 50 yards last year. He's 2 for 2 this year already. So like you got a shot to get three. Instead, they just let the clock go down, and then Nebraska calls the timeout with 1 second left on fourth down. Why? Because why not? Because you get a free Hail Mary out of it.
Sure.
Michigan had to have taken a timeout, even like 10 seconds left, force them to punt because they're not going to go for it. It was like fourth and or
Right.
15 or something like that. You have to force them. And then, things happen. Like this doesn't happen all the time. No, but it just takes one time to put yourself in you're up 17-10, playing pretty well. Next thing you know, it's tied at halftime because you don't know how to manage a clock. Those
Do
little
you
things like
think?
that are like, I don't know how Sharon survives. I mean, I know he wasn't there, but like this program makes these kind of stupid decisions like this and clock
That's
management
that's
decisions.
that's what I was going to ask you is, do you think Moore plays that exactly the same way, or do you think that's the interim coach and he's not real savvy because he ain't done it, like as far as being in that maybe that particular, in
Yeah,
that environment and on that, he's just not real versed in a half like that where you say, well, I need to take these timeouts and force them to kick the ball because I don't want them throwing in the end zone with no time left for no reason. Anything can,
right.
like you said,
I
anything can happen when you do that. And I wonder if Moore would have
absolutely.
played that the same way or if he would have played it different.
It's hard to say for sure, right? But he's made some similar like, what are you doing with the clock management decision? And there's no one on the whole staff that played Madden. Like, all you do is need a kid who's played Madden know how to manage a clock. And there should be a kid, a 12-year-old kid that's played Madden 17 hours a day for his whole life, telling him when to
Right.
stop the clock, when to use the timeout, when to spike the ball. And these guys somehow, and based on the post game, I don't think Poggi, the interim coach, still understood why it was important to make them punt. I just don't. It's remarkable that a schmuck like myself can understand that, but these guys making millions and they're infallible. Uh, Seemingly had no idea. No one on this whole staff is like, we need to probably take a timeout because they're going to just want to take a shot at the end zone. It's not that
Right.
hard of a throw for a guy like him.
And on the 50, right? If that
On the
ball's on
50,
the
yeah,
10-yard
midfield.
line, then it's what? Well, who gives a shit,
Right,
right? But
right.
well, you still take them because you get the ball back, better field position. Maybe you kick a field goal, so you still take it then.
Absolutely.
But he's not throwing to the even if you do make a mental error like that, he's not throwing to the end zone at that point. So it's
Right.
not near as big a deal.
Exactly.
If he's on the 50, you got to know they could throw this to the end zone here. We need to prevent that because we don't want
Right.
something stupid happening, and they didn't, and then something stupid happened.
Something stupid. And also, part two of that, something stupid happened, is like they rushed three. How
Oh
many
yeah,
times do you have to be burnt and see other teams get burnt by Hail Mary to know that rushing three, you might as well rush none because it's not useful at all. Like heat the guy up. Every time you heat him up all game, he's thrown an interception. He's almost thrown two other interceptions that were dropped. Um, but no, you let him get out there and take 10 seconds to line up, and he had 15 yards of like freedom. No
yep.
one even near him. Chuck it up there. And anything can happen. Just takes a tip ball or that guy grabs the ball. Like that was just a great play by him too, that wide receiver too. So like you put yourself in your own bad position when you do stuff like that. And these are pretty simple things to avoid. But these things continue to happen. And then one other thing that was really frustrating that let's say the cost of the game, but like it made it more interesting than it should have been. Michigan gets a stop on third down. It's like 3rd and 16. They get a stop, and the defensive back goes over to the Nebraska sideline and starts like taunting them, doing like this kind of thing. 15-yard personal foul,
What are you doing?
first down. That turned the game back. So Nebraska was able to finish that drive and put up 3 points. Or no, they scored seven. I forget. Yeah, they scored a touchdown that drive. Yeah. So it made it like a 3-point game then. And so like that just stuff like that is that things didn't like happen like that under Harbaugh. Like he did not say what you will about him. The program was run like very disciplined. They didn't have jackasses doing stuff like that. And the worst part, the kid didn't even come out of the game. He continued to play the rest of that series
Oh,
even. Are you kidding me?
no.
Like how many times he didn't wrap up and miss tackles in that game alone? He was, split hair from having an ejection for targeting as well. Like he's a huge hitter, but like he might as well not have arms because he doesn't wrap up at all. So, and then the only time he uses his arms was when he's doing this kind of
Right.
celebration thing that got a 15 yards. So that
Imagine a
was a
kid doing that
frustrating
with
thing.
Saban.
But oh my God. I said the kid should be sent to the locker room and then suspended for the next game by the team for doing something like that. That's a detrimental to the
Yes,
program, right?
it is.
It's just nuts. And yeah, so the other thing I'll talk about is like what about Underwood, and they came out and said after last week they played well against Central, well, I'm not gonna take the air out of him anymore, let him play, be who he is, some paraphrasing. Well, that's mostly not true, I think. First of all, they only ran him one time the first half, like I said earlier, one single time. Now he's not a guy that's a guy you want to run all the time. That's not necessarily his thing, but he's really good at it. He's better at like finding ways to make yards when the play breaks down, when the passing
Right.
play breaks down. He's going to find more yards when the passing play breaks down rather than run. I mean, but they just run like QB bash and power and stuff like that. Plus one, he's 230 pounds. Like he can stand some of these hits. He's going to deliver more blows and absorb. So while they did run him a few times late, just to kind of run clock out and get down late and kick a field goal, but they just didn't unleash him still. And so they had the longest play on offense was 16 yards, like you said. That happened what, four times. One, two, three of those plays were throws to the line of scrimmage or about 5 yards where the receiver made a play. One was a screen, Hayes was a screen, Morgan was a screen, and McCauley was just a thrown out to the flats who made a guy miss.
Right.
So these balls are not down the field at all.
Yeah, they're not
They
pushing the
threw
ball down the
two
field.
balls down the field. The middle of the field might as well not exist. The only thing that exists is in the left hash area and the right hash area. That's the only thing that exists in this offense. And they threw one. He threw a beautiful ball. It should have been six on their first drive. Their wide receivers are just poor, generally speaking. Drop that. There was one other play that McCauley caught that had just a tip of his shoe out of bounds that was down the sideline. Otherwise, there was no plays down more than like 15, 20 yards. Everything was just under screens, throws to the flats. And if you're not going to let him throw the ball down the field at all, you're going to have defenses like Nebraska did and Oklahoma did, is sit on those edges. They're not going to
Yep.
give. There's no need. First of all, their wide receivers are not scary. Second of all, you know that they're going to be throwing these screens when you see like trips to the side. That's they're going to throw the ball out there. They're going to maybe throw a screen, so you don't have to worry about middle of the field or down the field much, if at all. Like they're going to take maybe a one or two shots a game, and then that satisfies them. So that's going to be a problem if they're not going to let him do that. I mean, obviously they won the game, and that's the most important thing, but they just make some of these head scratching decisions, and they're not completely unleashing him, which he seemingly could handle way more than they're giving him. And the stuff they are giving him, it's like 3rd and 9, and they're making him run a sprint out, throw to a tight end is already covered as a one-man route. That's a hard throw for Tom Brady or John Elway to make.
Right.
Let
You're gonna ask it.
alone to a
Yeah.
tight end who can't get by someone on a one-man route. And they had a couple of those where like another one where he got sacked because he's trying to scramble around because there's a one man route. The tight end falls down or got jammed up. There's no one else to throw to, so he's trying to make something on nothing, and there's nothing there. So there's like little things like that. Like you're gonna have to just trust him if you really want to make a run to playoffs. You're gonna have to trust him because you play USC in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Like that's gonna be a problem. In the Coliseum, that's gonna be a problem,
Yep.
right? Um, you still got to play Ohio State, of course. So I don't know. They just a win's a win, right? That's the most important thing. But man, do they make it more complicated than it needs to be sometimes. So hopefully, they clean some of this stuff up. And I know part of it's like your head coach isn't there. There's some like confusion of
Yeah.
what we're doing and this a little bit of out of sync. But so the good news is they get this weekend off. Then they get Wisconsin in 2 weeks. So that's a nice little reset too, because
Well,
Wisconsin's like awful.
at some point, like they did it a little bit last week, right, Dave? I mean, they let him push it
Hmm.
down the field some,
Oh
so it's
yeah,
like they're
absolutely.
they're
Yes.
spoon feeding him. Like we're gonna play bad teams. We ain't got to worry about them bad teams beating us. So we're gonna let him
Right.
push the
We're going
ball
to beat
down
them
the field and
somehow. Right.
spoon
Yeah.
feed him and
Right.
spoon feed him. We go up against elite ball teams. We're gonna. It's like they. I don't know if they. I don't know if it's like you say. I don't know if it's trust. I don't know if they're seeing something in
I think that's
practice.
part
Like
of it.
yeah, when they're going against our DBs and our defense, because you're seeing them against those guys, he's not making good decisions, and that'll get us beat in
Right.
games that teams are going to be equal to what we are. That could push back a little bit. So
Yeah.
I
I
don't know.
mean,
You
I'm
just
sure there's some truth to a lot of that, right? We don't see the practices.
no.
But at some point, you got to take a shot to get those safeties out of the box. They were running into 8, 9, 10-man
Sure,
boxes or guys within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage over and over and over.
that's all
Like,
Oklahoma
you're
did. They
not going
attacked
to win
everything.
that. I don't care.
Yep.
I don't care how great your offensive line is. You have the Denver Broncos 97 offensive line. You're not going to be able to block 9, 10 guys that are screaming at the line of scrimmage. I don't
Right.
care if you have Justice Haynes or Emmett Smith or Walter Payton. That's not going to be a winning combination. And you're putting your freshman quarterback in worse positions by having him one man to think about. Like, I know that's simplified. One route, just worry about one route. Well, he can handle like maybe coming off that first look and then go to the next one. Or they're setting him up for, I'm going to say failure, but they're not like completely unleash him. You have to work these things out in games. If you don't, you're going to be trying to figure it out when you're down in the fourth quarter, and that's not the time to start learning things.
Right, for sure. And you know what? In a couple of weeks or 3 weeks, what in USC, that
You'll
may
see.
be
Yep.
when you got to have a drive because Lincoln Riley's going to put points on the board. If
Yes,
Nebraska
he
can
is.
do it, Lincoln Riley and that offense is definitely going to do it.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and
you got to go
Michigan
into that
doesn't
game
want him to
knowing,
road it.
yeah, you because you're going to have to play that game in the 30s to have a shot to beat USC out
Oh,
there.
absolutely.
So
Right. 100%. And I think that's maybe possible because USC's defense is still, but you
yeah,
are right. They are going to, they can run the ball and they can throw the ball, obviously, quite well. So, yeah, so more to come there. But if you're a Nebraska fan, you're like, I guess, when is this little thing supposed to happen? We're supposed to be better and make that next leap. Um, they have the rest of their schedule, other than a couple games, is quite winnable.
manageable.
Yeah, I mean, this
USC
Michigan
at
State
home.
game may be difficult because they're playing a little better. Maryland, that looks like a better football team than we anticipated. Minnesota, probably nothing. Northwestern, not good. You get USC at home. You better be thankful that's at home.
Right.
Um, at UCLA, that's probably an easy win. At Penn State, no. I mean,
It's an
I
L.
see them
Yeah.
with probably two or three more losses. I don't see them beating Penn State. I don't see them beating USC, and
We'll
I
find
think they
another
drop
loss in
one
there
other one in
somewhere.
there. I
Yeah,
think
I'm
they're
with you.
looking like an
Yeah.
8-4.
Yep, I
Yeah,
think
it
you're
might
right.
be
Yeah,
Iowa. It could be at Minnesota. Like Minnesota's
yeah.
solid, sneaky win possibly. Um, yeah, I just don't. They're who they are, and until they get better at the line of scrimmage, both sides, they're going to look like they are now too. I mean, you can have Rayola, whatever, you can have Patrick Mahomes back there. Eventually, that not having a good defensive line and a kind of mediocre offensive line is going to lose you some games, and it did again already. So,
I was so
which I'm
sick and
happy about.
tired of hearing those two comparisons
It's
over
just
and
it's just
over
so
and
obnoxious.
over. Every time he did something good, oh, it's Mahomes. He just like Mahomes.
Right, exactly. Right,
Okay,
right.
okay, guys.
And then he has the nerve to say, I wish they would just talk more about me, about my name and my jersey. Like, well, you're the one that's going out and clearly practicing his mannerisms, his same haircut, like everything. So it's on
Throwing
you,
the ball
kid. This
sideways
is
and yeah,
right, exactly right, right. Like all these little celebration things he does, and yeah, he's obviously a really talented kid,
for
but
sure.
I don't know if Nebraska's ever be able to put enough horses around him to make a real run at a title with their NIL programs
I
and
think in
you know it's just hard
Nebraska
to
is a
get
they're just
talent
a
to
I
Nebraska and
think
Lincoln.
they're that program is destined to be what South Carolina is in the SEC,
Sure.
which is a good solid. They'll beat you if you don't play, and
Yep.
they're going to win. And there's going to be some years they're going to win 9, 10 ball games. There's going to be some years they win six, and that's
Yep.
just the way it is. Or Missouri, kind of the
I, I,
same way Missouri is.
same
So
thing. They're very similar. You're absolutely right. Um, and that's been like that for
long time.
25, 30 years now at this point. They can keep recycling these coaches, but the end result's going to be the same. You know, 8-4 is going to be your kind of your buffer, right? That's where you're probably going to sit most of the time.
They
And
are
you know, that's tough, man. Like if you're not going to spend, you're not going to outspend Oregon or Michigan or Ohio State or Penn State. I mean, like right there or USC. Like you
right.
already got a handful of teams above you already. And right now, even Indiana is better coached, has better talent right now, like Indiana. So
Yeah, if
you're
those two
sitting
played on
middle of the
neutral field,
conference at
I take
best.
Indiana.
Absolutely. I take Indiana in Lincoln
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with that.
right now. Right now, for what I've seen those two teams. So, you know, they're going to be perpetual middle of the pack. Wish we were there or almost there, almost back to the good old days. Go ahead, you know, they had an anniversary, their 95 title team. Congrats. Enjoy that because the further you get from that, the no
Yeah,
one on this roster knows it except for some of the coaches
yeah,
that were alive
exactly.
at the
That's
time.
mom and dad's grew up with Tom
Right.
Osborne. You didn't grow up with Tom
Exactly.
Osborne, but
No, no, no,
um,
no.
they're going to be fringe just outside the playoff, always looking in. And Matt Rule cannot wait for them to go to a 16-team playoff because that's when he'll have a shot to make it.
Yes, yes. That's like exactly right. This is like James Franklin extending from four to 12 teams.
Yes.
That was like the best thing ever in college football for James Franklin because he's never going to make a 14 playoff. It's
Nope.
just he just
Nope, for
isn't.
sure. And now when you go to those negotiations as coaches, you use that you lay that chip on the table every time. Made a playoff last year, deserve a raise.
Mid playoff for sure.
Even
Exactly
though I
right.
was the
Yeah,
16th seed and I lost 51 nothing, but hey, I made playoff. Yeah.
we're in the playoffs.
You can't win it if you
Yeah,
ain't in it.
it's like yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, we had to pay to go to Knoxville and get slaughtered, so I'm not
Yeah.
sure if that was a.
So
Well, look at this. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish, they get their first win of the season. I'm surprised they haven't jumped up to the top 10 yet. Beat up on a bad Purdue team, so
well, they won't
we'll
move them.
see.
I don't know. I know the top
No,
25's come out already. I bet they didn't move. 1 and 2 sitting
I
probably
didn't
at
look at it yet.
24. I guarantee. I didn't
That
either. But I
seems
was
about
guaranteed
right.
MT they didn't move.
They better not have, although some of the writers that vote on these things, I question.
Boy.
Yeah. Well, Notre Dame used to be good in the 80s when I was a kid, so maybe they're still good down.
Well, it's,
Um, I don't want to tell you about my process or anything. I'm gonna get into that, like how I pick these things. Last game, and I stayed up for all this game because
dang, good for
that's
you.
who I am, a lunatic. I went to bed. I put my phone on the charger at 1:58 a.m. today. So I watched this entire
Man,
game.
you soldier, son.
Well, it's like I liked Pac-12 after dark, but most of the time it was like Wazoo and Oregon State. That doesn't really move the needle for me as much.
Right.
Um, Michigan State have a vested interest in paying attention to how they are. Same with USC. And I don't know. I enjoy watching USC. Lincoln Riley's teams are fun to watch, if nothing else, like us offensively at least. Um, and so I just like I'm just gonna stay up and watch this. I wanted to for sure watch the first half, and then it was like good enough game. Even though it looked like USC was going to pull away, they had a couple boneheaded mistakes and busted coverages, and Michigan State's kind of hanging around there. So the good news is about this game is that there was a kid from Michigan State got injured, and there was a probably 15, 20 minutes of like making sure he's okay, getting him in an ambulance. Apparently, he flew home with the team, so that's a pretty good
Well, that's
sign.
good. Yeah, for
So
sure.
that's good. So otherwise, USC, they can run the ball too. Like I see what they finished with rushing yards, but yeah, they have almost 300 yards rushing. Like this offense is legit. It's very balanced. Lemon is a stud. I like the Eli Sanders kid was a beast, man. That kid runs hard and angry. Jordan's another. That's that one-two punch at running back is really, really good. Um, Maeva was just efficient, took care of the ball. He looks just like he looks a little like Caleb Williams out there. Like he's not quite as run around crazy, but he has that sort of simple patience and is able to throw down the ball down the field, make all the throws. So they're a
Looks like
really
a
good
Lincoln Riley
team.
quarterback, in other words,
It
right?
looks like a regular. It's absolutely exactly. I should have just said
Okay.
that, and that would have been
Yep.
summed it up very well. You set it up in
They
one
all play the
sentence more
same.
than I could.
They all
Yes,
play the
they do.
same.
Right, right, right. I thought Michigan State looked pretty good actually. They have struggled to run the ball a little bit and protect, but Childs looked pretty well. I mean, 12-21, not great, but there's a couple drops in there, three touchdowns. Nick Marsh is a great wide receiver. He only got a couple touches, strangely. Um, yeah, I thought they played pretty well. Michigan State is certainly a better team last this year than they were last year. Um, which they have some more games coming up. They have more losses coming, Michigan State. But I don't know. Jonathan Smith is a guy that I wonder if I think we talked about a little bit last week. Like if he's forever at Michigan State, that's not really a doesn't feel like a natural fit. He's a West Coast guy.
Right.
There happens to be a job open in UCLA.
Maybe he
Like
bounces.
he doesn't hate Michigan enough. He doesn't play that card. He's just a nice guy. I kind of like him. I've never said that on a Michigan State coach in my entire life.
Well, I mean,
He's just,
East Lansing or Westwood.
I seriously, it's this. Now, you could argue right now that Michigan State is a better program
I,
and maybe better set up to go
I
forward,
when
but
did you ever think you
they're
would say
so
that?
close. No, 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 absolutely
That's a
not.
great
Although, if
point.
you look at the history of UCLA, they don't have the strong. I mean, you go back to the '90s when they were like really, really relevant, right? And from then they've had some solid to good teams and some middling teams, but mostly like not quite this bad, but like they play second fiddle to SC most of the time in that city, especially. Um, they're there for the paycheck for sure. I mean, like they have so many things that should be good, like the Rose Bowl's like the greatest place to play, but that's 90-minute drive from the campus. That's hard to get
Right.
students out there to fill that up, man. They need to put something on campus, even if it's like 50,000 seats.
Just get something on campus.
Something on
Football's better on
campus, just
campus.
something on campus.
100%.
So I think that would be huge for them. And there's just too many things to do in LA, right? And if you have a choice to go to UCLA or USC, you're probably going to pick SC. Like it's academically better. It's a worse neighborhood, but the football team is going to compete more. Like the basketball team might very well. UCLA's basketball team's been good,
Hmm.
but not amazing. Not like the wood is long gone. So um, I don't know. That's a program that needs to infuse a ton of money and find the right guy this time. Because boy, that last hire was one of the worst in the history of college football. I think like it's right there with Mike Price going to Alabama.
Well, Mike Price never coached a game, so Foster has that going for
Right,
him.
technically, you're right.
Uh,
Exactly. Right.
I, speaking of UCLA, Michigan State, USC, the Big Ten needs them to be good. They need them to be good
Yes.
football teams. You think of Big Ten, it's a little top heavy in that you automatically go Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan. That's the first three teams out of
Yes.
your mouth, and whatever order
Right.
you want to put them in. And then it seems there is a good drop off between those three guys and then the rest of the league. And so
Right.
the Big Ten
Absolutely.
needs a bit. They need good teams. A good USC is good for the Big Ten. It's good for college football. Michigan
Absolutely.
State being good is good for the Big Ten, and it's good for Michigan fans because then you can actually hate them and beat a good team, right? And not
Yes.
beat
Right.
them up and
Exactly.
still hate
Right.
them, but then maybe feel a little guilty, maybe not. But
No,
so
not
you
really.
want right, but I mean Michigan State, USC, those teams, you want them to be, and you don't even you think about Big Ten, you don't even think about Oregon. No one's
No, we
mentions
didn't talk about
Oregon right off
Oregon.
the bat. Yeah, no one
Right.
mentions them
No.
because they're
But you
way
could
the hell
argue they're
out
the
there
best
three
team in the
times over.
conference right now.
You sure could.
Yeah.
But if you
Because
say
they're
Big Ten,
so far away.
yep, exactly. You
It
say
people are
Big
still
Ten,
getting
you
used to it,
automatically
right?
say it's
Yeah.
crazy. And so I mean, automatically when I'm talking about the Big Ten, blathered out Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, because that's the three you
Just
think
as like an
about,
instinct, like a reflex.
right? But yeah, you want. I mean, it's just better with Michigan State, USC. You want those teams to be good too. That way, you get depth, and it's
Depth
just
of the conference,
it's
right?
just better football to watch every weekend. There's not. I know some
Absolutely.
schedules we've talked about it. Some schedules when if you're a Penn State, you have nothing to look forward to all the way
No.
to the Oregon game. Like those games
No.
are
Exactly.
shit the whole way to Oregon. Whereas
Right.
like us, we've already had the Georgia game. We go to Mississippi State this weekend. We play Arkansas at home.
Yep.
They're all fun games. You're looking forward to all those games.
Yes.
Whereas if you're Penn State, who we play? Sam Houston. Okay, well, when's Oregon coming to
Whatever. I'll
town? In
just go
5 weeks. So
5 weeks. Okay. Then I'll pay attention.
right,
Right. Yeah. So they get Oregon and then they play Ohio State a little bit later. But I mean, that's a team. Like, look, they're gonna probably get in because they're gonna, you know, win enough games. Penn State is probably, but like you talk about, can really stand to beat Ohio State finally, or stand to beat. How they say and play this weekend, stand to beat in Oregon, right? They
I was
kind
gonna
of
say, yeah,
need one of those games, Like
I think that
I'll
James
just look at their
Franklin kind of
schedule
needs it.
quick here. Yes, well, Franklin was particular. Yeah, there it is here. Let's look at their schedule quick. So they get Oregon this weekend at you. Like, then they get 3 games in a row. It's like, okay, well, we should take care of this.
Abysmal.
Iowa, who knows? Sneaky Iowa. Then you get at Ohio State, and then Indiana, and then at Michigan State. So that gets a little interesting there in the middle of this,
Right.
kind of later in the schedule. These 3 games here, and especially these two. Um, I mean, you should take care of business in the last couple. Uh, who knows with Michigan State? We'll see where if they're continuing to play well or not. But yeah, I mean, they have some games that they got to win. I just think they have to win one of these Oregon or Ohio State games to be
I think
taken
you're right.
serious.
Yeah. One thing you can't do is drop both those and drop Indiana at home.
Mm-mm. Nope. You'd be sitting outside watching everyone else, I have a feeling.
Yep. Yep.
I guess I'd have to see what else would happen, but like that's a
Well,
good
you're
way
nine
to
and
not be
three,
in the
and
playoff.
I don't know.
And I
With a
have
12 team, I don't know 9-3 ever gets you in. And I don't care who the nine
no,
and three
no,
is, unless
no.
there's a lot of 9-3s. But then who's the quality win? You
Yes.
lose to Oregon, you lose to Ohio State, you lose to Indiana. Where's your quality win? Michigan State.
Yeah,
Is that your
right.
quality win, really? So
What else would it be? Maybe at Iowa,
maybe.
Nebraska, an 8-4 Nebraska team?
Yeah.
No.
Now you're
Yeah,
looking
they
for.
they they have to. They could drop this Oregon one. It's early enough in the season. As long as they go to Columbus and win, which is quite a bit to ask. But
Right.
that's because he's never won there. James Franklin's never won in Columbus, so there's
And if you're
that.
gambling, I mean, you're going to gamble. I mean, you need the Oregon game because you just said you're not
Yeah.
going the horseshoe and winning.
No, you're
And then
not.
if you lose there at Ohio State, now you got to come home and play a really good Indiana team. You lose two in a row back to back. That changes
Yeah.
that changes
So
the whole
long.
outlook. Yep.
100%. Absolutely. So I think that's the end of the this week's review games. We'll be back with you in a few days to preview this upcoming weekend. But before we do that, we got to see how things go with the picks. Do we make any money?
We did. Yeah, we're up. One quick thing I want to bring up. Did you get to see any of the Memphis Arkansas game?
I bits and pieces of it. Bits and pieces of it. It looked like I missed a pretty good game.
28-10 Arkansas, and then proceeded to get outscored 20 something to 3 or whatever it was. So, yeah, 22-3. And
Pittman's no longer going to be there. I mean,
Pittman is
it's
32-33 at Arkansas. You were
okay.
talking
Well,
about,
we've seen enough.
yeah, and you were talking a little bit earlier about one score games. So,
Yeah.
that who was it? You
Oh,
said it was in one
Nebraska.
score. Yeah, Nebraska won some games.
Illinois is well,
Illinois,
Nebraska too, but Illinois was 5-1 last year. Yeah,
right, and
or
won
6-1
scores.
maybe.
Sam Pittman is
Yep.
7-18 and 7 points or
That
fewer.
becomes not just like a flip of the coin anymore. You're just not very good at it. Like if it's 3-3 or 4-6, okay, you're right there. If you're 7-18, like you're not a good football coach when the score's close. Like you're doing everything the opposite. Like you're Costanza. You do the opposite apparently.
Yeah,
Whatever,
right.
whatever you're supposed to do.
So yeah, I just thought so I got to see a little bit of that one because I like watching Taylor Green. And I got, like I
Yeah,
said, with Michigan State, I got a vested interest in it because Arkansas comes here in a few weeks.
you
So
played him a
uh,
couple weeks. Yep.
he's dangerous, and our secondary
Yes,
isn't the greatest, so that's going to be some points. But their defense is just
you're gonna put up
atrocious.
70
It's
on him.
so bad. It's so bad. So, all right, picks. Um,
Picks.
before I get into picks, one quick thing, and I'm gonna check it again
Hmm.
tomorrow. But I use Bet ESPN on my picks. That's the app I use,
Okay.
and I've been doing this every week for 4 straight weeks now. I went in this afternoon. All the money line picks are turned off. So I wonder
Really?
if it is just, well, maybe they go live on Monday because on FanDuel they're live now.
Okay.
I go into FanDuel and do
Okay.
it right now. But Bet
'Cause,
ESPN wouldn't.
huh?
Yeah, no money lines. And then it's Georgia, Alabama, it's A&M, Auburn. Like it's games you should be able to pick money lines.
That's a glitch, or
So
they're just
I
not released it yet on
wonder
that.
if they've not released it, or if they see you playing that. I wonder if it raises a flag of, oh, wait a minute, this guy's just picking money lines on home teams. Because if old Chris here in East Tennessee knows the winning percentage, you could pretty much, there's a whole city in the desert, right, that knows those percentages
Yes,
as
they've
well.
probably there's some guys that have thought that before.
They've done a little homework
Fair.
on it, I'm betting, and so I wonder
Yes,
if they
or
see
some AI algorithm has been ran or something.
maybe so. Yeah, because I can't be the only fool that's ever tried this. So
No.
and speaking of, we go 4-0 this weekend. On the year, we're 17-4. That's 81% winning percentage. We are plus $5.75 now. So minus $20 last week. We are plus $5.25. So, and if they've turned it off, that's what really pisses me off because it ain't like
It's
we're making.
$5.
Yeah, it ain't like I'm taking them to the
Right.
cleaners. It's $5.75, and there's still 6 weeks to go.
Plenty of time to
6,
lose all
7
that
weeks.
money.
Yeah, for sure. So, and
Right.
there are some bangers next weekend for home teams.
Yes.
So you could
Yes.
now. The strategy here is simple. If tomorrow it doesn't let me go to Bet ESPN and do the money line, Chris is going to take his, $150 or whatever it is that I got in the bank. We're withdrawing that. We're putting it right into FanDuel, and we're making our picks next week. So they can't stop
There's
us,
a
folks. They
workaround.
can only hope to slow us
That's
down.
right.
That's it. And
Yeah,
so this
because
week,
look, at $5, Chris is buying lunch when we're together in a couple weeks
for
because of
sure.
that $5.75,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
We're all going to go to
I'll give me a
Strong and buy
fish
loaf of
sandwich.
bread and some bologna. Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Maybe
I didn't say what to lunch.
yeah, pimento cheese with some white Wonder Bread.
Oh, I thought this was a Pepperidge Farm or something.
Yeah. So all right. So on the picks, 81% for the year. 4-0 this past weekend. We had wins: Missouri over South Carolina, Mississippi State over Northern Illinois, OU over Auburn. Of course, we talked about Ole Miss over Tulane. So 4-0, won $141.77 on those 4 games. So that puts us plus 575 for the year as far as in the bank.
Okay.
And then we
Sure.
will. I will either tomorrow or Tuesday, whenever it needs to happen. I'll check tomorrow, and then by Thursday, the bets will be in. We'll go over them and see if we can have a big weekend next weekend.
Yeah, that sounds good. All right. Did we hit everything? I think we hit everything.
I think we
All
did
the
good.
good games, weekends, and
we are gonna go for an hour
90
only.
minutes. Well, we're going to try, folks. We're hitting 90 minutes. We're not meaning to. You can see that, we're still figuring this out, and we yap a lot. So that's the good news and bad news. Hopefully we can put you to sleep or get you to work, whatever you want to do. On the toilet time, if this is good toilet time for you, we're good for that. Turtle it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it. We'll see you in a couple days. I'm Brian. This is Chris. This is Tell If We Know podcast. Talk to you soon.